All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Tuesday, March 30th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Welcome on back here for our afternoon meeting. Let's get a quick sound check just to begin. Make sure everybody here can hear me loud and clear. That goes across the board for all of us live inside the trading room. Great to see you all. Got Skip, Bonnie, Ron, Lee, Michael, Gary, Taz, loud and clear from all there. And for anybody tuning in on social media, Facebook Live or YouTube, welcome on back. It's been a bit of a snooze fest. Pretty much, from the afternoon. We had our Traders Talk workshop from earlier this morning. That recording will be on the student dashboard by this evening. And I know that Fausto has his Phase 3 class coming up in just about 30 or so minutes. So I do want to make it quick, but for right now, let's talk about just CAN. We'll talk about the SPY, and then we'll go from top to bottom. I'm currently in 2 trades right now, and kind of like a snooze fest, really. So I'll go over them, as they move. But for right now, Canon, we ended up seeing them make another pop. It took a little while to get the gears going on this trade, but with the news out with Bitcoin, PayPal, some huge news regarding, paying services with Bitcoin. And, I would assume with Bitcoin moving up, perhaps we see Canon, perhaps we see EBON and, Riot, Mara, all of those, Bitcoin mining related companies to make a bit of a squeeze. So for the most part, that's what we had. Not the prettiest chart, but to see this move up pretty nicely, it wasn't too surprising. EBON, Canon, Mara, holding off pretty nicely off the highs. That's what you love to see at this time of the day. And then Riot not doing a whole lot there. So you know what? Maybe I'll come back to Mara at the end of it all. My stance on these companies. Going into the afternoon, they rarely make that big continuation. So Mara up 14% at the highs. It looks great. We'll see if this ends up making the big move that we would want to see happen. But let's go from top to bottom first. We'll see what else we can get going into the afternoon. I told you I'm in 2 trades right now, and I guess as we go from top to bottom, I'm sure we'll find them. Nothing really too much to report home about there. But the VTSI to begin, top percent gainer up still close to 100%. It's like near the highs of the day right now. It had a lot of activity in pre-market. So to see this stock make it squeeze more so heading into the late morning, right around noontime, I would have expected this to dump back down. And for what it's worth, it's held its highs pretty nicely, or held towards its highs going into this afternoon. So I don't have level 4 up or bookmap, so to say. I'll load that up, I guess, for right now. I'll put this on our list. Great liquidity on the order book still. It's got a bit of a spread, but some bigger orders across both the bid and the ask, and that makes it more tempting to trade my eye. For right now, you have an order on the ask off of 950. Outside of that, though, really, your next resistance on this trade is not until 10. I'm sure there's going to be an order in between, but for right now, you have about like 40,000 shares on the ask, roughly off 950, and another 40,000 roughly off 10. All right, so VTSI, hey, I'll come back to this either way by the end, but we're definitely going to put this on our list to start. Just want to see how it looks by the end of it all. HPR on the flip side, though, I mean, you can say it's kind of still near its highs, but this stock, though, is so low float, trading, what is this, 9 million shares already? I say already because, although we're like 4 or 5 hours into the market day, obviously, as you can see, this stock's just started to pop going into the last hour. So most of the volume in which this stock is traded total across the day has taken place as, on this run up. The float on this stock, I think, is like 2 million. 2.28 million shares. It's trading 9 million shares total across the day. We've seen stocks trade even higher in terms compared to its float. But you know what? It was looking good just before that last false breakout, though I'm not a fan of. So I'll kind of pass on this for the meantime. If it ends up like proving me wrong and makes a big pop later on during this meeting, I'll come back to it. Folks, right away, I'll just see the VTSI pop 950. Got to be careful on that trade, but that one's really making a sharp move now. CSCW, you can see all my stuff on this chart here, the ellipses, the lines, the trend lines as well. So we've had fun on this stock, and not necessarily in like good fun, actually. A couple of trades where I did really well, but then afterwards I wasted this last trade here. I was up a decent amount on this trade from 188, and then as it came scorching back down from that false breakout from 2, I ended up closing out at like 191. It was like a waste of a trade there. I guess better to get out with a profit than no profit at all. But yeah, for right now, trading 203 million shares. I don't know what the float is on this, but at this point, we're definitely going to pass on the CSCW. If it ends up making another move tomorrow morning, I'll definitely be interested in it, but I think for the afternoon, we'll pass. kind of nicknamed this one Viper, VVPR, Vivo Power International. It's at the highs. We've traded the stock in the past. It's been a little while, but we ended up catching this more so going into September, October last year. Ended up, I guess, making another run up going into the end of last year, beginning of this. And for today at the highs, I don't know what the news is. I'll play ignorant to it because we don't really have much time. We have Fausto's class coming up at 3. So easy enough. We're just going to put this on our main watch list with this, pumping up to the highs of the day right now off 1097 roughly. Resistance, I would assume, off 11. But again, much like this, as I had said before on the VTSI was even more liquid than this, I'd say. You got to watch out for the spread on this stock. It's like, 8 cents, 9 cents at points, fluctuating up and down, and pretty thin volume on the book otherwise. But nice move, and we have a big resistance ahead at 11 here. All right, let's see what else we got here. See what else is cooking out there. I didn't mean to even click this. Trading 62,000 shares total across the day. I didn't mean to click that. The PFMT trade, we did pretty nicely on this run up after the market opened. It took me by surprise. I thought this would have made a move a little bit later on throughout the morning. I think it took about like 5 or 10 minutes. And then, oh no, this is all pre-market. I'm sorry, I thought this was like the market open here. So really right out of the gate, this ended up breaking out. So even more. I would have thought, just given the pre-market activity on this stock, it pumped super early in the pre-market, dumped back down. I would have expected this run to happen like 10:15, 10:30 or later. So to see this make the move that it made, it's nice, but obviously the volume came back down pretty quickly. The volume dropped off once we ended up seeing the sellers step in. So, to see where the stock is now, it's certainly no surprise, but nice pop from earlier. I got PAAS. I haven't seen this one before. RAAS. What is this? Glue Pen Group Inc. Interesting. I guess relatively new IPO from March or February, perhaps. But yeah, squeezing up right now. I mean, I don't really feel a need to put this on our list. I want to see if there's just better opportunity outside. All right. Jerry picking up some profits, probably closing some positions from much earlier throughout the day. I'll check out the AMC at least in a moment. Sol, though, looking really good still at this point. I was hoping to see this near the highs going into the meeting, and alas, here we are. Ended up kind of dying off for a little bit, kind of consolidated, sideways for a little while, but pushing back up. I don't really see much of a resistance on the ask. There was definitely a lot of volume filled off 1170 from the last time I was teasing that breakout, but nothing really showing on the ask here so far, so perhaps that could lead to another spike coming up pretty shortly on this trade. So the Sol, I'll put this on as well, and this will kind of be on our list with the VTSI so far. All right, let's see what else we got here, folks. I got the can trade. I kind of wrote that off for right now. Maybe if that makes a big pop later on during the meeting, we'll put that back on our list. JKS, Jinko Solar, we've traded the stock more so on the way up as a swing trade going back into last year. I always like to show this when I have the chance. This is like probably the prettiest trend that I've ever seen on a daily chart, ever. This run up. Like, how does that happen as clean as it did here? So nonetheless, I just, that's how I remember this stock. Anytime I see this Jinko Solar stock on the percent gainers or losers list, I'm instantly going to turn over to it for that, type of reason. So for right now, it's near the highs, a little pricey, but with that, I mean, it's not surprising. The stock has a bit of a spread, thin volume on the books. So certainly more of like a level 3 to 4 stock I would categorize, but making a nice trend of higher lows, hopeful to make a higher high later on. I'll put this on our list too. Oh yeah, Mara was the one I wanted to check back in with. That looked great, but again, we've had this long-running occurrence where these, crypto mining stocks don't break out higher or lower going into the close. They don't continue in their direction. So I'll jump back to Mara at the end of it. See what else we got. Yikes! The VTSI I am going to jump back to actually right now because I'll show you what happened. Clear false breakout, ended up popping the 950, came right back down on the same exact bar and right back down here. So I hope that this isn't done. I hope there's one more breakout over 950 later on today. But with that false breakout, if it's not going to break out later on, then I'd only assume that there's one other direction the stock's going to drop in or go in. That's going to be a drop. All right, so let's hop over to the losers list. I guess actually really quickly. Watch, I'll probably jinx myself, and this will be probably the best looking one. Nah, BTBT. This is another crypto mining stock, I believe, or at least affiliated with Bitcoin over the last, few months. So wanted to look at this quick, but not a whole lot going on there. Let's hop over to the losers list. Normally, I'd say there's a bunch of crap hard to borrow, and there kind of still is a bunch of crap hard to borrow near the top, but EEIQ is down 32% shortable from TradeStation. Nothing going on in terms of the order book. This is a new IPO. This GOEV trade, I gotta say, this one definitely I wish I was more focused on once the market opened. I wrote this down on my notepad this morning. It was down big, it was shortable. I recognized all of those things, and I ended up playing around with the Genius trade between GNUS and what else was the other one? Oh, well, the one from just before, the CSCW. Those two, unfortunately, I was playing around with when this ended up providing us a really good short opportunity once the market opens. So, hey, it's a new IPO, or I think it's a new SPAC, if I'm not mistaken, a special purpose acquisition company. Should that be the case, then there's not really any historical data below where it had dropped from. So technically today, I'll call it all-time lows, and this stock is shortable. So yeah, for right now, it still remains tradable, but certainly a slow down from the morning. Again, this is a stock I can put on the list if I really feel the need to, but I don't. I'll check back in with it tomorrow morning. I'd be way more interested in seeing what this GOEV does come tomorrow morning and come for the rest of the week, really. All right, that leads me to Genius. I'm still in. For all of our students here live inside the room, I kind of stopped talking about this for quite some time, but I didn't tell you that I was out yet because I was still in. I'm still in this trade from 188 on a hat one, from half of my original position. I'm in on 1,000 shares. I was in on 2,000 at least from 188. I took a small loss on that trade before I got back in, so I closed the first half at, I think it was 202. And that was eons ago. That was as it was pushing up here. I took half my profit off the table. I still have half left. I'm hopeful for a squeeze up, but I'm not going to hold my breath for it. So the news out on this Genius stock, I guess it might be old news, but we ended up seeing news come out in relation to Genius Brands and a partnership and affiliation with Stan Lee, Marvel Comics. So you'd figure that would lead to a huge pop and run. And, we talked about this in Traders Talk for a small bit, but, this pop happened at 9:15 in the morning. This is the pop off the news. It looked great. The hell happened here before the market opened? Jeez. I mean, whatever news came out, the street was not happy. So we ended up seeing a huge drop. And, I was asked this from earlier, why not short the stock? Well, that's a great idea, but by the time the market opened, this tanked so damn fast, it ended up dropping down to 190 within the first minute. So, good news came out. I wasn't thinking to short it for that reason to begin, but you know what? It is shortable, and it could have provided good opportunity from pre-market, but at the time that I was, calling it out after 9:30, it was already down so much. So, does it provide a great short opportunity at that point? No. Not really. I wouldn't imagine it for it to be. So I was asked that during Traders Talk. Why not short it when it was around 190 or 2? If you were able to make money on that, kudos, but otherwise I would have had more opportunity on the way up. Right now it's just flat, so I'm not expecting for a whole lot to happen going into the final hour. If there is anything that happens, then great. I'm going to hang on to this trade at least as I do the commentary after 3 o'clock. Real quick check-in on the VTSI. This thing is a crazy one. Just ended up popping right back over 950 right now. So this might lead to the higher high that we were hopeful for here. It made a false breakout here while we were doing the meeting, and right now a second chance here, a second crack over 950. All right, let's see what else we got here, folks. There is one other stock I want to show you, the other stock I'm currently in. It is not doing anything, though, unfortunately. Down 1 penny on it. Let's see, it's not going to be on the losers list. It's not going to be on the gainers list either. So really quick, the SEAL stock, SEEL. I was looking at this just before. It looks super flat, looks ugly. The news that came out on this trade from pre-market is the same type of news that came out that led to this massive run up. So some firm ended up providing a price upgrade on this stock, and they ended up doing a $15 price target. A completely different firm did the same exact thing last month, and we ended up seeing what happened from there. So I was really hopeful for this to be like a beautiful run once again after the market opens, like kind of dumped off here, and that was it. So I was watching this from where was I in at 445. I took my eyes off it for a little while after. I personally missed this run up. But for right now, I'm currently long. See, I'm in the position from 460. I'm more hopeful to see this make the squeeze up, the pop. Doesn't look like it's going to do it, though, for right now. So I'm probably going to remain in this position. I'm going to keep this on our side list. I think there's much better opportunities so far. If it ends up making the pop, I'll definitely be the first to call it out, and we'll focus on it as a team from that point. But I'll tell you, though, again, there's a reason why I'm putting the VTSI on our list. It's because this is a lot more volatile. At least this does provide opportunity to make some money on a breakout or a pop. All right. So, folks, if there's anything else up, down, left, right, type it in the chat board. Let me know here really quick. Just catching up on the YouTube stream there. What's going on, Daniel? Daniel F. joining us live on YouTube here. Got the RC or RSCF, my dyslexia there, Scott, pardon me. He's saying it's a cheapie worth watching. RSCF. Oh, it's an OTC stock. I don't have the data for that on this platform. So, if anyone trades the OTCs like Jerry, then perhaps you can keep it in mind. This is weird. I have the 5-minute chart loaded, but not the 1 minute. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. I see the little pop there, Scott. So, hey, if you're in it already, I'm sure that you're doing pretty well. For right now, though, I want to see if there's anything looking better or anything else that we could try and trade. Just jump to Benzinga Pro really fast here, and since I'm in the office today, there we go. This is my Benzinga Pro platform here, so you can kind of see the signals page that I show at times and so forth. No, I gotta relog in. Give me a sec here. I gotta make me do this again. There we go. All right, what else do we have here popping up on the signals page? Don't really have much. Jivo, I guess, was near the highs. It's at the highs, I guess, now. Express at the highs. That's a familiar name, at least. All right, Express up 3%. Not a whole lot there, but definitely some big volume coming in on this trade, right? Let's see what's going on with AMC, GameStop, all of those from before. I know Jerry closed out some profits on that. I don't know if those were swing trades. GameStop running pretty nicely, though, here. So perhaps some of the other like Reddit stocks will look to make a bit of a move. I don't know if there's any other headlines out there. I don't see any. So I'll tell you, Express looks really good with this pop right now. We don't really have too many stocks on our watch list so far. So I'll definitely put Express on here. Where's Jivo at? Jivo is up 8+% at the highs of the day right now. Also seems like it was kind of stuck underneath the highs from the last 2 days prior, back from like 883, 881 here. So perhaps the stars are aligning on this Jivo trade in particular to make a nice run. I was calling it out going into the mid to late morning. I was expecting it to kind of slump off and just kind of pull back down. Nice to see this move up higher here. Not going to put GameStop on the list. Pretty expensive. This one looks like crap. Jerry says M had a nice day today. It does, yeah. That one's also holding off nicely near the highs, Jerry. That's a good side list stock to keep in mind. Don calling out the CCL. There seems to be a lot of stocks that are just moving towards the highs heading into the afternoon, so it's going to be tough for me to put all of them on our list. So that's where I kind of just chop it down to what's looking better right now, what's looking faster. This Express looks awesome right now. This VTSI looks pretty awesome right now. And, even Jivo, that was at the highs, but that was starting to make a better push up here, right? Or at least it was just at the time. I might even scratch Jivo off our list if we tend to see all of these others that are kind of running towards their highs. I don't want to have 30 different stocks to call out in that case. I'd rather just focus on a couple. AAL, I was watching from earlier. I saw a price upgrade on AAL from a firm, so squeezed up pretty nicely. It was popping just going into the meeting, but pulled back down. Yikes. Look at this HPR now, folks. I was just saying this before. I didn't think that this was looking as good now because we had the false breakout. It was looking good like going into the meeting, but damn, this thing just keeps dropping now at this point. All right, folks. So I'll tell you, I think that we're just about good to go. I mean, really, we don't need to have like 12, 13, 15 stocks on our list. I mean, we'll do good just well with 5. We have the VTSI, we have the Sol stock, which you don't want to forget about. Jinko Solar doing pretty good still at this point in the day. We have Express. So keep a good eye on those to begin, folks. And then outside of those, if there's anything that's going to be making a big pop or drop, I know that Fausto will be watching with most of us here going into the class today. Question from P Trader: do you have a new mic? Voice sounds different. I'm here in the office in Syosset, New York, P. So different mic today. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm here in the office. So that's probably why. Let me ask you, is it better or worse? And actually, while they type, I have a question on YouTube also here. Does your level 2, the depth of market on TradeStation, also can you see the bid and ask in different? I'm a bit confused about the question. Perhaps we talk a lot about that inside our live trading room. Fenuel, I don't want to push the question off, but that's a question that requires a lengthy answer. So you could follow the volume on level 2, otherwise the depth of market like you're referring to, or otherwise the TradeStation matrix here. That's what we nickname level 3. That's what we primarily use though otherwise. All right. If you'd like to learn more, then that'll be a good segue for me to sign off and say, if you'd like to learn more, feel free to join us live inside our trading room. Go right down to the link on the banner below. And then we look forward to speaking with you from there. All right. But outside of that, for all of our students live inside our trading room, if you haven't already, make sure that you click on the link that Rich posted in the chat board just now. That'll give you access into the phase 3 stock course with Fausto. I know that he's prepping and getting ready himself. We were just chatting a moment ago. All right, so for those of you not joining Fausto, of course, we'll kind of keep operations as normal here inside the trading room, much like yesterday. I'll be in a coaching session from 3 to 3:30. I'll jump back on the mic right at 3:30, taking you into the market close. Talk to you soon. Take care.